What if I told you that the people you call pessimists, the ones who always expect the worst, who see the cracks in everything, are actually the most realistic among us? That optimism, as comforting as it is, might just be a beautifully crafted illusion? Think about it. When was the last time life surprised you by being better than you expected? Rare, right? But disappointment? That's familiar. That's reliable. The 19th century philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, a man so brutally honest he makes modern cynics look like naive dreamers, argued that pessimism isn't just negativity. It's clarity. It's seeing the world exactly as it is, without the sugarcoating. So here's the uncomfortable question. What if the pessimists aren't the broken ones? What if it's the rest of us who are lying to ourselves? Let's dive into Schopenhauer's harsh truth, why pessimists might be the only ones who truly see reality. Let's be honest for a second. How many times have you told yourself, once I get this job, this relationship, this level of success, then I'll be happy? And how many times has that happiness, once achieved, slipped through your fingers like sand? Schopenhauer had a brutal name for this cycle, the will's endless striving. He believed that human desire is like a treadmill. We keep running, but we never actually arrive. The moment we get what we want, the excitement fades. The hunger just shifts to something new. Think about it. You finally buy the thing you've been obsessing over. How long does the thrill last? A week? A day? You achieve a goal you've worked toward for years. And then what? The high wears off, and suddenly you're searching for the next thing. This isn't pessimism, it's observation. Schopenhauer argued that happiness isn't some permanent state waiting for us at the finish line. It's just the brief pause between one desire and the next. A fleeting relief, like scratching an itch, only for another one to appear. So why do we keep lying to ourselves? Why do we act like this time fulfillment will last? Maybe because the alternative, admitting that satisfaction is always temporary, feels too bleak, too hopeless. But here's the twist. What if accepting this truth is the key to real freedom? Because if happiness isn't some final destination, then we're free to stop chasing it like fools. We can stop blaming ourselves when the high wears off. We can stop pretending that life owes us constant joy. And that's where Schopenhauer's pessimism becomes something unexpected. Liberation. Here's a fact that will make you flinch. Suffering isn't an exception to the human experience. It's the baseline. Think about the body for a second. Hunger, thirst, fatigue, pain. These aren't occasional inconveniences. They're constant alarms, reminding us that just existing requires effort. That's Schopenhauer's point. Life isn't designed for happiness. It's designed for survival. And survival is painful. You work to avoid poverty. You socialize to avoid loneliness. You strive to avoid insignificance. Every comfort is just a temporary escape from some deeper, nagging lack. Even pleasure is just the absence of pain. Eating relieves hunger. Sleep relieves exhaustion. We're not chasing joy, we're running from discomfort. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's depressing. Why even get out of bed? But here's where Schopenhauer flips the script. Recognizing suffering as the default doesn't make life meaningless. It makes our small victories miraculous. That morning coffee, a tiny rebellion against exhaustion, a laugh with a friend, a momentary defeat of loneliness. When you stop expecting life to be fair, every good moment becomes a gift, not a given. And this is where optimists get it backward. By insisting that happiness is the norm, they set themselves up for endless disappointment. But pessimists, they're prepared. They know the storm is coming, so when the sun breaks through, even for a second, they feel it. When was the last time a pessimist said, "I told you so," and was actually happy about it? Think about that. The optimist bets on sunshine, then gets furious when it rains. The pessimist packs an umbrella, and if the sun comes out, bonus. This is Schopenhauer's secret. Pessimism isn't about misery, it's about strategy. Let's break down why this works. 1. The optimist's trap. Expects the best shocked when things go wrong. Treats every setback like a personal betrayal. burns out chasing constant highs. 2. The pessimist's edge. Prepares for the worst, ready for anything. Sees problems coming from miles away. Treats good outcomes as delightful surprises. Here's the psychological magic trick. When you expect nothing, everything becomes profit. That bad date? Exactly what you predicted. That canceled plan? Right on schedule. But that random act of kindness? That moment of unexpected beauty? Pure found money. Schopenhauer called this the wisdom of resignation. Not giving up, but giving in to reality. It's why the darkest comedians make us laugh hardest. Why the most cynical romantics love deepest. They've removed the lie that life owes them perfection. Imagine two people walking through a minefield. One says, "I'm sure if I just believe hard enough, I won't step on any mines." The other thinks, "Every step could be my last, so I'll tread carefully." Which one survives? This is the brutal gift of pessimism. It removes the blindfold. Schopenhauer saw what most philosophers were too afraid to admit, that human beings aren't rational creatures. We're storytelling creatures. We'll spin just about any narrative to avoid facing three awful truths. 1. We have very little control. The weather, traffic, and other people's choices, all beyond our command. Yet we still make plans like we're the directors of reality. 2. Bad things happen randomly. Illness, accidents, betrayal, they don't care how good you are. But we still act shocked when misfortune hits. 3. No one gets out alive. The ultimate deadline waits for all of us. Yet we live like we're the exception. The optimist looks at these truths and says, "Let's pretend otherwise." The pessimist says, "Now that I see the battlefield, how do I fight smart?" And here's where it gets beautiful. Clear vision leads to real strength. The pessimist saves money because jobs can disappear. They cherish friends because people leave. They find meaning in small moments because big ones aren't guaranteed. They don't just survive reality, they negotiate with it. Here's the greatest irony of all. Pessimists experience more genuine joy than optimists ever could. Think about sunlight. You don't notice it until you've been in the dark. Schopenhauer understood this better than anyone, that true appreciation requires honest comparison. The optimist's curse? They take everything for granted. They expect love to last, so they stop cherishing it. They assume health will hold, so they waste their vitality. They demand success, so they never enjoy the climb. But the pessimist? They live in a state of constant discovery. Every healthy day is a stolen jewel. Every sincere laugh is a minor miracle. Every moment of peace is a temporary victory. This is why some of history's greatest artists, writers, and thinkers leaned into pessimism. Not because they hated life, but because they loved it too honestly. They didn't need delusions to find beauty. In fact, seeing the darkness made the light more vivid. Vincent van Gogh painted Starry Night while battling madness. Beethoven composed masterpieces as he went deaf. Schopenhauer himself found profound insights while declaring life meaningless. Their secret? Pessimism wasn't the end, it was the beginning. Once you accept that suffering is guaranteed, two extraordinary things happen. 1. You stop waiting for happiness, you start recognizing it. 2. You realize that meaning isn't given, it's made in defiance of the void. So here we are at the edge of the void. Schopenhauer spent his life staring into it, arguing that existence is suffering, that desire is endless, that optimism is a lie. But if that's all there was to his philosophy, why does reading him feel freeing? Because hidden in his pessimism is the most hopeful idea of all. Once you stop demanding that life be fair, you can start playing the real game. Here's how to be a hopeful pessimist. 1. Trade expectations for awareness. The moment you stop arguing with reality, you gain power over it. 2. Collect small victories. The pessimist's joy comes from stolen moments. The first sip of coffee, a stranger's smile, 5 minutes of quiet. These aren't little things, they're the only things. 3. Let pain teach you. Schopenhauer wrote, Suffering is the fastest teacher. Every loss shows you what truly mattered. Every betrayal reveals real values. Even grief is just love with nowhere to go. For create meaning anyway. The universe doesn't care if you're happy, so you get to decide what matters. This is the ultimate paradox. By admitting life is often terrible, we become better at living. By expecting less, we receive more. By acknowledging the void, we stop fearing it. Schopenhauer's tombstone bears just 2 words, Atman, the eternal self. Fitting for a man who taught us that the only real freedom is seeing clearly, then choosing our path through the storm. So tell me in the comments, have you ever found strength in pessimism? Has expecting the worst ever surprisingly prepared you for the best? And if this video resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who sees the world a little too clearly. They might just need the reminder that they're not alone in the darkness. Until next time, keep questioning.